Got it? Now here's a parent writes to me, we need help and guidance as to what's going on with our teen daughter. We don't know how to reach her. She stopped talking to us and has become socially isolated. She's 18, graduated from high school, is having a gap year. We're really desperate and need lots of help and advice. We're not in a position to hire expensive counselors. We have to do the healing for ourselves. So here you have a child who's not talking to the parents. She's probably living at home. We don't know if she's not talking to her parents or everybody else, so there are a lot of questions involved. But I'll say this, that to me it's an emergent situation, that you have a child who's isolating herself. She seems like many kids who have Aspergers. Maybe she doesn't have Aspergers, but she seems very bright. And what I say to parents, and it's amazing, every parent so far has recognized that this is, I'm not offending them by saying it, that kids this age in this kind of situation, they think of killing themselves. It's happened so many times. I've heard it and seen it so many times that kids like, man, I feel like killing myself. I bet the chances are she said it. The chances are, because of my experience. I'm not saying she's going to kill herself, but it's something that you need to take seriously. Of course, teenagers do kill themselves. I mean, we all know that. But it's something to take extremely seriously. To me, it's an emergency situation. You need to do something immediately. Now, if she's not talking to anybody, then it's a question of somebody you trust or her trusting to come into a situation and forget about talking. Just do something with her. Go on a sailboat or go, do something that she might enjoy. If she's depressed and feeling socially isolated and she needs to somehow feel good about herself, whatever that is. It might be something that the parents disagree with. I had a kid who was obsessed with video games, and the parents just put the kibosh on it. And I came along, and I had an expert working with him with video games, and he wound up, feeling himself again. Whatever it is, it could be playing basketball with the girl. Whatever it is, somehow she may need to come out of her depression and kind of feel good about doing something. Here's another important thing that's totally neglected. When you have kids who are behaving unusually, just in a terrible way, that the system and the parents, we always say, what's wrong with my child? But there might be something wrong with you, or you might have, as a parent, done something wrong. I had a kid who tells me, my mother says she hates me. Well, that's pretty powerful for a child who's 18 hearing, my own mother tells me, she hates me. So my point is, if you had somebody, maybe a third party, come in and ask the kid why. It's amazing how often we don't ask the kid what's going on in a way that we're really listening to the child. And the child may say something, oh, my parents did this and that, and it might not have even been something that you thought was important, but it was important to your child. And that just triggered a feeling of disconnect. So I like the idea because I played that part to be a third person, to try to find out what's going on, try to have the child feel good about themselves in some way, and develop sometimes in spite of the parents and not because of the parents. That's also a possibility. That I'll tell a child who's 18, next year, if you go to college, you don't even live with your parents. So you have to be whole, you have to be strong, you have to have your own life, right? It's true. And you know, don't let your parents get, even if your parents are horrible people, still you have to worry about yourself. And you're the one that who has to be productive. And so there are all these different angles that we could use to help your child communicate with, ultimately with you and other people, and to live a successful life.